The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Window World of Western Mass, a local family business with experienced craftsmen offering vinyl, composite, and James Hardie siding. WindowWorldOfWesternMA.com. The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by the Handle Factory Community Clay Studio in Shelburne Falls, offering youth summer programs and spring adult classes in pottery and sculpture. HandleFactory.com.
Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte.
Today is Patriots' Day, commemorating the shot heard around the world beginning the American Revolution at the Battle of Lexington and Concord, which took place 250 years ago.
And while this side of the state gets the day off, Patriots' Day really feels like a Boston holiday.
Although Patriots' Day is also celebrated in Maine and Connecticut and also somehow in Florida, Wisconsin, and North Dakota.
Random.
This Patriots' Day, the Fabulous 413 will usurp the holiday and celebrate one of our own.
On April 13th, 413, at City Space in East Hampton, we gathered together with many of you to celebrate our half of the state.
And we take you back there now.
Thanks for coming to this
Impromptu party for Western Mass.
a first endeavor of an idea that is multifaceted in its origins. But I'm Monty Belmonte from NEPM's The Fabulous 413 radio show. Obligatory applause. Thank you.
I'm Khalees.
Khalees!
No. You know that makes me uncomfortable. Please stop.
While this wasn't an original idea to take the date April 13th and turn it into a holiday, it at least wasn't our original idea. It is a great idea. And so many of the people who have had this idea in the past are going to be part of the show today, or at least several
of them, which
Yeah.
is wicked cool. Because again, great minds thinking alike.
It'd be
and doing
fun to
something good.
find out the origin story of who wanted to do this first in Western Mass for 1-3 Day. And I know other area codes in other parts of the country have also used this idea in the past to celebrate the place where they live.
And stick it to the people with like 7 or 6 in the middle of their area codes.
Yeah, then they
who
just
don't have an
can't do it.
opportunity to do so.
Yeah, my dad's birthday is June 17th, and he's from Boston. So theoretically, 617 is my dad's birthday and the area code there, so he's Mr. Boston himself. So we should do a whole celebration of that. But we're not here to talk about Boston. We're here to talk about
Western Mass.
Western Massachusetts, which we love, and what NEPM has been allowing us to do for over 500 shows now is to go all throughout the 4 counties of Western Mass and meet interesting people and hear about cool things and visit amazing spaces.
And do those cool things too in some cases.
Yeah, and bring it to you via the means of the airwaves. So you all coming out here to celebrate Western Massachusetts with us is an honor. So thank you to you for coming. So this is a little bit of a hybrid of our radio show and just a fun day to hang out, get together, and hear some great music and hear some interesting ideas. But our hosts here, it was our first choice of a location for big enough and small enough to be cozy for an endeavor of this kind.
And visible enough, because right in the center of East Hampton.
Right in the heart of one of the coolest cities in the 413, East Hampton, where we are now.
I miss living here so much.
I do kung fu down the street like 3 times a week, so I feel like I live here. But let's welcome to the stage some of our hosts from City Space, Zoe, and the original and former mayor of the city of East Hampton, Mike Tausnick, who's part of City Space's board.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out today. Welcome to City Space. We like to say here that we put the 1 in the 413 because this is 43 Main Street. So thanks for making that happen.
I've never heard that. That's pretty awesome.
We'll pick up on any tag we can. So there have been some scheduling snafu, so on behalf of the city, since I am a former mayor, I wanted to welcome you to East Hampton and to the Old Town Hall. We're really excited about what goes on here. City Space is a nonprofit organized in 2006 to take over the management and control of this building. We currently hold a 40-plus year lease, and we're in the middle of some renovation projects. We just went out to bid for an elevator to reach all levels in this building from basement to balcony. Thank you. We're extremely excited. We did open bids. We're meeting with the contractors next week, and we hope that within a couple of weeks we're going to have some great news about that project moving forward. We're excited to have you here.
We're excited to be here. This is a great space.
This is the Blue Room, as you may notice by the color. It also used to be the police department, so it's kind of fitting with a little history about East Hampton. Although I don't think they ever had as much fun in here that we're going to have today.
No. You know
For their
what?
sake, hope that they did, but I also somehow perhaps doubt that.
There's two minds on that.
This is my kind of blue.
And if you go upstairs, which our president Burns Maxey, she's holding a little tour sticker, you can see why it's called the Blue Room. We take the blue from the beautiful stained glass you can find on the second floor. And soon, this building may be covered in a little scaffolding as we embark on a really exciting mission here. But in the meantime, while we're working on the second floor, we also have tons of really exciting programming happening. We have Queer Burlesque coming later in the month. East Hampton Voices is going to be doing their handoff of the Poet Laureate on April 26th. And we just closed applications on our residency program, the Pay It Forward program. So there'll be a lot of exciting announcements coming soon about who's receiving that program and what to expect here in the Blue Room coming up.
And generally get on their newsletter, because there's always good music, theater, other sort of workshop-y things happening in this space that they foster around here. And it's good to know that sort of thing is happening right here.
Right here.
Well, thanks again to Zoe and Mayor Mike for welcoming us here to City Space in this beautiful town.
Making us feel so comfortable and giving us so much stuff to play with.
I was myself going to do queer burlesque during this event, but I was talked out of it.
To start us off, we've got 3 wonderful musicians coming in this day, but our first one is in the middle of setting up a new stage musical in Chicago, and I'm so excited. I'm so just chuffed that they said yes to coming and playing. Western Mass's own Aaron McKeown. Woo-hoo! Tell us about this musical that you're about to do.
Hi, everybody. Yes, 1 year from now at Chicago's Court Theater on the South Side, a musical that I've been involved with called Out Here is opening. So we are casting currently in Chicago. That is what we're doing.
How does this compare to the other musicals that you've worked on?
They're all different. They're all like the hardest thing you ever did.
I got to see Miss You Like Hell in New York City. My family got to see it, who are here as well. And what a beautiful, wonderful, amazing musical that you did with
Thank you.
Chiara Alegria Hudes, who wrote a musical that you might have heard of called In the Heights by some no-named
We don't know who that
person
is.
named Lin-Manuel Miranda. That musical was incredible, and you're just a musical fan in general.
I think a true musical fan hates musicals as much as they love them. I actually think you have strong feelings and you have strong memories, and my favorite musical is the musical I first saw. So I saw Cats. So I'm old enough that when I was about 5 or 6 is when Cats came out, and I grew up in Virginia, and Cats' first national tour, my family took me to, and I became obsessed. And I've loved musicals ever since, and hated them.
That I have never listened to or
Stop
seen
it.
any
Stop it.
incarnation of Cats ever. I have other Andrew Lloyd Webber musicals that I'm a fan of. Our family will watch Jesus Christ Superstar for Easter, which is now our tradition. My youngest Pax over there believed that John Legend from the NBC live version of it
Was Jesus.
for the first few years.
Again, more
of their life.
historically accurate.
I was going to say, Pax knows something we don't.
And what is this new musical about?
This is a new musical about taking apart a family and putting a family back together. It's if any of y'all have gone through something where there's a divorce in the family and you have to reconstitute or redefine what your family is or figure out how to make that work. I'm in my 40s, and it's the new trend in the 40s. Can we laugh about this?
Yes, sure.
Sure.
It's, second marriage time. And and blended family time, and so the musical is working with that. It's quite humorous. for the reason that we need a lighter touch on some of these things sometimes. And it's also a musical where everyone knows they're in a musical. So it's one of those musicals.
I love that.
And those are my favorites. Because why pretend we're doing anything other than standing on a stage in East Hampton and everything is blue?
Fourth walls were meant to be broken.
I agree.
They never existed, right? So that's the principle of the musical. And so a year from now, it will open in Chicago. And it's our hope that we'll get another production somewhere and be able to make a cast album. But these things are like, they're very, very long-term projects. My first one, Miss You Like Hell, took 8 or 9 years to reach its apex. So we're only in year 3 of this one.
Amazing. Well, I am so glad to tell my first wife about this new musical, first off. And I'm so glad that you've agreed to be here for the first fabulous 413 celebration of 413 Day.
Later in the show, we'll hear what our regular guests Emily Brewster from Merriam-Webster and Clark University professor of history Dr. Usman Power Green brought to the stage for our 413 Day celebration.
But up next, Aaron McKeown performs for us from the Blue Room at City Space.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Northeast Solar, homegrown in Hatfield, Massachusetts, and providing energy savings for their customers for over 10 years. Learn more at northeast-solar.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. On this Boston-based holiday of Patriots Day, we take you back to our inaugural celebration of the left half of the Commonwealth, 413 Day, live at City Space in East Hampton.
Although these two Boston-ish born folks will remind you that neither Lexington nor Concord are actually Boston.
Yeah, but they've got the marathon today, and they've got the Red Sox game that happens today. So it feels very... And Lexington, you could throw a rock from Boston and hit it practically.
They are...
You could ride a horse there and yelling the whole time.
People in fact did, yes. But they are suburbs, says the girl from Roxbury.
Oh, there you go.
Right now, music from Aaron McKeown.
All right, happy 413 to all who celebrate. I'm so grateful to be asked to do this. This is such a beautiful thing in our community, and of course Monty and Khalees are longtime friends of mine. But as they know, and as you all might know, I have this anti-holiday project that I've done for years, and one of the tenets of the anti-holiday project is to make your own bleeping holiday, right? So here they've gone and done it. So happy 413 Day to everybody. And I just want to make a note that I am playing Khalees's SG, all right? Right, and I haven't played an SG since high school. So this one's for the dogs following the scent, and also for the ships that came for me and went. Everyone's a pirate and everyone's a clown. Everyone's the same when you turn them upside down. Find me in the night in the alley where they... Beneath the sign of bad blood, knock 3 times for luck. Close your eyes and give their word and duck and count to 10. Only then the way is clear, be sure to say amen. Que sera, sera, suri. Whatever will bleed, will bleed, will bleed. Que sera, sera, suri. You take what you need. Everyone's a dealer, everyone's a thief, star of their own novel and a priest of their belief. Never trust a soul, never trust a man, never trust in God, never trust a plan. Que sera, sera, suri. Whatever will bleed, will bleed, will bleed. Que sera, sera, suri. You take what you need. Que sera, sera, suri. Whatever will bleed, will bleed, will bleed. Que sera, sera, suri. You take what you need. This one's for the dogs following the scent, and also for the ships that came from me and went. Everyone's a pirate and everyone's a clown. Everyone's the same when you turn 'em upside, turn 'em upside, turn 'em upside down. Thank you so much. I've never been someone who likes to get real specific, right? I think that's part of just my nature as like a poet, as a writer, as a creator. So I like to present options and allow you to connect the dots. I really feel like that's part of my job as an artist. I filter, I reflect, I place in front of you. I've never been someone that wants to get up on a soapbox and tell you what to think. You're smart enough, you figure out what you need to figure out, right? So this is a time where you have a lot of dots to connect. You have a lot of things to figure out. So I'm gonna sing you this song that I first wrote in 2011. And I wrote it after a trip to Nogales, Arizona, where I first saw the border wall that we all know so much about. And I was standing next to it, and I asked someone local, why was it made the way it was made? Obviously, it's this, we all know this now, but think about that time when we didn't know that image. A series of posts set in the ground. And I said, that doesn't seem like a very secure wall. And they said, no, we learned that we had to build the wall this way so that water could get through, right? And that image really struck me in 2011. 2011, I wrote this song. What dots do you want to connect in 2025? Break my back and tie my hands. Send me to the jailer. For every man that jailer keeps, his soul is getting darker. The jailer rules a stolen land, king of wicked prisoners. Try to cross him if you can, scar across the desert. You can't keep us out, you can't keep us out, you can't keep us out, you can't keep us out. Try to stop the water, try to stop a fire, try to stop a culture. In his secret heart, the jailer knows how like he is his prisoner. Though he sleeps on finer sheets, his dreams will make him nervous. Now fearing this, the jailer locks a fist around his power. Never mind when doubt creeps in, a sound over his shoulder. Over his shoulder, sound over his shoulder. You can't keep us out, you can't keep us out, you can't keep us out, you can't keep us out. Try to stop the water, try. Oh wait. There's no dots on this guitar. Anyway. Does anyone here play guitar? Just raise your hand. Right, so what would you do if the dots disappeared? I was just said, bees gonna bake a honey cake, wolves gonna eat the weakest. The nature of a jailer is to do just what he pleases. But when we hang another man, part of us dies with him. Lock your soul up piece by piece. Show me just what love is. Show me just what love is. Show me what is just. You can't keep us out. 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 Try to stop a water. Try to stop a fire. Try to stop a culture. Thank you so much. So honestly, 2025 is the dots have disappeared. Can we totally flip the script and do something different right now? Are you guys down with that? this being 413 Day, Massachusetts being one of my favorite states. I don't know if you knew about this, but I was born in Massachusetts. My parents were in school here for a year, and so I was born in Massachusetts, and then they went immediately back to Virginia, where I was raised, and then here I am, ended up in Massachusetts. So all hail Massachusetts. Well, this one's gonna be really hard with the that's gone. No. Copper comes from Arizona, peaches come from Georgia, and lobsters come from Maine. With the wheat fields of the sweet fields in Nebraska, Kansas gets bonanzas from the grain. And whiskey, it comes from old Kentucky. Ain't the country lucky? New Jersey gives us glue. And you come from Rhode Island. Little old Rhode Island is famous for you. Cotton comes from Louisiana. Gophers from Montana. And spuds from Idaho. Well, they plow land in the cow land of Missouri, where most beef meant for roast beef seems to grow. And Grand Canyons come from Colorado. Gold comes from Nevada, but divorces also do. And you come from Rhode Island. Little old Rhode Island is famous for you. Pencils come from Pennsylvania. Vests from West Virginia. And tents from Tennessee. Well, they plow land in the cow land. Something. Where most beef meant for roast beef seems to grow. And I can't eat. 'Cause you come from Rhode Island. Little old Rhode Island is famous for you. Love us as we are. See us and we're holy. In this shall ever be holy ourselves. Your love will take us far. Praise us and we'll show you from heaven to the glory holes, glorious and free. There are those who think we're wicked. There are those who call us names. Depraved, lost and sick, and would rather bathe us in a shame. But we put the sin in sincere. We put the do in the doubt. God is perfectly clear. We are perfectly out. Love us as we are. See us and we're holy. In this shall ever be holy ourselves. Your love will take us far. Praise us and we'll show you from heaven to the glory holes, glorious and free. I believe in the ritual of lipstick, the sanctity of electric guitar. But it's cool if you're not that Catholic. You can be whoever you are. Love us as we are. See us and we're holy. In this shall ever be holy ourselves. Your love will take us far. Praise the sun will show you from heaven to the glory holes, glorious and free. For according to us and was ever thus, come join our jubilee. This shall ever be glorious and free. Thank you so much. I want to do one more thing for y'all. This is a song that doesn't have music, sometimes called a poem. We hear lots and lots about self-care, and I think that's good. I think that's good that that's become something that we talk about, right? So I take it really seriously. I try to think about what I put in my body and how I, exercise and try to do things like in moderation. I'm definitely not into like optimization culture. I'm like just enough culture. Like that's where I try to stay. And I feel like I'm mostly doing like a pretty good job at it. Like pretty good. Like I've made it this far. Things are all going all right. Not too much like negative self-talk in my head. Like I took Facebook off my phone in 2016 and never put it back, which is really nice. And I don't scroll. I don't allow myself to make that motion on my phone. But then, I'll be walking around feeling all healthy and good and like I'm on top of things. And then I'll walk by a reflective surface. So it could be a storefront, or it could be like a car window, or it could be like I'm getting ready to leave my house and I walk right by that like sort of mirror right by the door. And in like 1 second, it feels like all of this like good work that I've been doing, all these positive messages, all these like daily things that I've been doing, it feels like they like break in 1 second. Can I get an amen if y'all know that feeling? Right? I call that feeling mirrors break back. So fragile, a delicate flame that burns out. So fleeting in nature, love for myself. One look, I'm full of cracks. Mirrors break back. Back and forth between faith and doubt. The stage and the shadow, the spring and the fall. The constant swing of it all. It gets me down, down. Still that merry-go-round finds a way to come round so I can get up again. Amen. Tell me, do you feel the same way when mirrors break back? Ooh, break back. I never had a model, I only had a mother who compared ourselves to others, always another and another. I was taught to think, the bitch takes up space, the witch gets burned at the stake. This history deceives me, leaves me vulnerable to attack. Mirrors break back, ooh, break back. Mirrors break back, ooh, break back. It's true. Sometimes I do think I'm beautiful, with strong hands and wrists, pulling on strings, raising fists. And when I shatter the glass and punch that ceiling, it feels like we can all break through. But then you turn around and it turns on you. All of us know this realness too. We feel the same lows in our tight clothes, but at least we're less alone when those mirrors break back, ooh, break back. Mirrors break back, ooh, break back. For every action, there is an equal and opposite action. For every confident step, there is the backstab of fear. Backslide, backslash, slide step into the negative. He is president again. You are all wrong. The patriarchy is strong, and its biggest weapon is hanging in your house, saying, you better check yourself. You better check yourself. Too late. Straight to my heart, it's cardiac. Mirrors break back, ooh, break back. Mirrors break back, ooh, break back, yeah. Mirrors break back, ooh, break back. Mirrors break back, ooh, break back. For every action, there is the equal and opposite action. So for every hateful look, I will close my eyes and picture a fire, an endless choir until I will not believe what I see when the mirror is trying to break me. I will look up. I will look out. And I will try to meet your eyes. And in that rhapsodic deed, mirrors break, ooh, break. You are all the reflection I need.
Erin McKeown. Khalees is going to have dots installed on their guitar now.
Coming up, more from our 413 Days festivities live from last weekend, April 13th at City Space in East Hampton.
The Word Nerd will educate us on some Eastern Mass versus Western Mass vernacular.
But up next, Clark University professor Usman Power Green from our Power of History segments celebrates the abolitionist history of the 413 with us.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by UMass Amherst School of Public Policy. Admissions now open for graduate programs in 2025. Learn how to become a changemaker at umass.edu/SPP.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. We take you back to Sunday, April 13th, 413, where we celebrated Western Mass at 413 Day live from the Blue Room at City Space in East Hampton.
Khalees is going to introduce our next guest.
Okay, so
And I'm going to do a costume change for this.
So our next guest here for 413 Day, and thanks again to everybody who's new, has come into the room for coming and celebrating with us and just making a good spectacle of the wonderful place that we live. Our next guest, we wanted to do something about history of Western Mass, especially how that history pertains to marginalized communities. And lucky for us, this place is rife with historians. But one that jumped out at us and has now become a regular on our show is Professor Usman Power Green of Clark University, who joins us to do the Power of History once a month because he makes crazy good classes, and we're just glad to have a little bit of his time. So help me welcome to the stage Dr. Usman Power Green. Monty has a costume change, so now you get to grab a microphone.
And Professor, I had a costume change because we believe that as of yesterday, at your hallowed institution, just on the outskirts of the 413, my 17-year-old son Enzo is going to be a Clark University student.
All righty.
So get ready to carpool
That's right.
from Northampton.
Get ready to carpool.
With my 17-year-old.
Exactly.
This
What
isn't
a
asked
great,
to do
great,
on
great-
stage.
You don't need to commit. You don't need to commit.
That's really funny. That's really funny.
You do a lot of history about what has gone on here in the 413, especially when it comes to the abolition movement.
Yes.
You also do some, more contemporary histories. You're also part of the reparations committee in the city of Northampton.
True.
Anything stand out to you in the legacy of the 413? A little story that you feel like, we've heard of some of the heroes like Sojourner Truth, and there's others that may come to the top, but somebody that you want to shine a light on with this opportunity that you think more people in the 413 should know about,
Well,
perhaps be proud of in their history.
Yeah. No, well, I just yesterday gave a tour at the David Ruggles Center. Has anyone ever been to the David Ruggles Center in Northampton at
You
all?
can check out one of our
that is
Okay,
not a whole lot.
there wasn't that many hands, so I want to give a shout out maybe about David Ruggles. A lot of people maybe don't know who that is. David Ruggles was an abolitionist who basically came up here from New York City in the late 1830s, early 1840s. He was a really prominent person that really didn't get as much attention. He died relatively young in 1850, but he became most noted because when the most famous, perhaps, abolitionist Frederick Douglass published his autobiography, his narrative in 1845, he mentions David Ruggles by name. And so when that work blew up and became a sensation, international sensation, David Ruggles' name sort of left the world of the abolitionists and really, filled everyone's mind. So David Ruggles, definite person you should know, representing the 413 and the David Ruggles Center in Northampton, Florence. Come check it out. In Northampton, the Florence section became named Florence after this era. There was something called a communitarian community, sort of like a utopian community that was there that sought to create a living and working environment where everyone was cooperative. Women and men made the same wages. Former people that fled enslavement, lived there. Sojourner Truth found herself there, David Ruggles. And so that small area actually still has some of the remnants of that community. For example, mulberry trees that are around, because one of their goals was to procure silk in order to undermine the cotton trade. And so if you walk around that area of Florence, you could sort of see the mulberry trees and sort of this last remnant that's still there hundreds of years later. So definitely something to be proud of. Sojourner Truth, who lived there, is not just an American icon. She's actually a global icon. People all over the world talk about Sojourner Truth, and the fact that she lived not too far from Bombyx or the statue, I think is incredible, and people should definitely know as much about it as possible and check it out.
And for those of you that don't know, Bombyx, which we all cheered about because it's a great place, is named after this particular type of moth.
Oh, yeah.
That was
that's true.
making this particular type of silk that was trying to undermine the cotton industry
True.
coming up from the South.
Which is why their logo is that moth.
Professor Uzman Power Green, our regular guest, our monthly historian. The Power of History is the name of his segment. You can hear him on our show every month. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for joining us.
You can chronicle this as the first unofficial, official 413 Day holiday celebration for future historians.
Exactly, right?
Up next, from our 413 Day celebration at City Space, word nerd Emily Brewster, senior editor at Merriam-Webster in Springfield, will explain why Boston drops its O's, but Western Mass retains them.
Angela answer questions from our live 413 Day audience. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
The Fabulous 413 podcast is funded by Real Pickles, a worker-owned cooperative in Greenfield, producing organic fermented vegetables sourced from Northeast farms. More information at realpickles.com.
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. We end this Patriots Day holiday takeover from our 413 Day celebration at City Space in East Hampton with one of our most popular regular guests of the show, who will help us suss out the linguistic differences between us here in Western Mass and those English speakers closer to Boston.
Our next guest, who makes their home in Greenfield, owns a bar, as I mentioned, in Great Falls, Turner's Falls, where I live, and is the resident wordster from Merriam-Webster, our dictionary in Springfield. Please welcome to 413 Day, Emily Brewster. Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster, our dictionary in Springfield.
Hi, Monty. Hi, Khalees.
You have brought us a topic here for 413 Day, Emily Brewster. What are we going to talk about
Well, I was
today?
thinking about language, of course. And I was thinking about how the language in the 413 is not like the language in the 617 or the 508.
Do tell.
There are two very particular differences that are sort of widely accepted as being differences. One is that we have our R's.
That is true.
Yes.
Yes.
As
yes.
noticed
And-
when I lose mine.
Yes. Khalees and I both have the Boston accent deep in our well of language, and it comes out.
At the most inopportune times.
Right. I still love it, and mine fell off because I'm a chameleon of language, not because I tried to lose it, as some people think. But if I have tasted from Tip Top Wine Shop, I might start dropping my O's again. I might say, do you like hockey? Have you checked out hockey.com, which is actually my favorite part of the Boston accent? That weird O sound.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's
So
good. Yeah.
we have our O's here.
We have our R's, and, okay, I need you both to say two words. C-O-T, thing you sleep on.
Caught.
Yep.
Caught.
And now C-A-U-G-H-T.
Also caught.
Also caught.
That is the other big distinction in linguistics. This is called the caught-caught merger. In a lot of places in the United States, overall, these words are merged. They sound exactly the same. Caught, I don't know, however you said it. I say caught. And it's hard for me to find the middle spot between them and
Wait,
say them
them
the same.
again.
Caught.
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 And caught. This is the first time I've ever tried this, and I don't think I can do it.
It's real hard. I can't.
It's caught and caught.
But I can do the Aaron thing.
There's Aaron, and Mary.
Right, but that's also. So you're here for a 413 event,
Right.
but you're speaking 617.
Sorry. Look, neither of us were born here.
We weren't born here, but we've adopted it as our. How many of you were actually born here? Well, that's a lot of you.
Yeah, that's an awesome
The rest
fact.
of you,
Yeah.
check it.
I wasn't born here either. I was born in a 412. No, sorry, that's where I grew up. I don't even know where I was
So
born.
did you celebrate
Area
yesterday?
code. No.
You're a loss, I guess.
No, I'm 413 now, solidly
Yay.
413. So why is it that in Boston they don't have R's, right? This rhoticity, it's called R-H-O-T-I-C-I-T-Y. A rhotic language has got its R's, and a non-rhotic language has not got its R's. And they always have some R's, right? Like you keep an R if you want to smush it up against the beginning of a vowel, on the next word, for example, right? So it's not entirely R-less. But why is it that on the East Coast, Boston, New York, going on down the East Coast, a lot of the accents have no R's. They are non-rhotic. But we are rhotic. And the reason I think is very interesting. It has to do with the history of the English language in England.
Aha.
So from the earliest days of the English language, this is all the way back, like Anglo-Saxon, earliest days of the English language until the 17th century, English had its R's. So Queen Elizabeth had her R's. She did not have the posh accent that she is given in all the movies.
Wow.
She didn't. No, she had her R's. The R's started to leave in the 17th century, first in the southern part of England. So the first people who came here had their R's because they got here at a time when England was still, everybody had their R's. And they carried that rhotic dialect with them, and it spread. But people who were on the coast were in constant contact with people from England. And this non-rhotic development, this kind of losing or softening of the R's in England, moved from the southern part of that island up and eventually took over the whole island. Now they don't have their R's the way that we do. But people on the East Coast were in constant contact with them, and so they lost their R's.
Do we see this influence of England English in other places? Because my grandmother, who was Irish, would say, and my grandmother, who was Italian actually, but both lived in Boston, would say Bath as opposed to Bath.
Yeah, that also is a later England development. So that is another change that happened in England after the 17th century.
So why do we in Western Mass, do we have an accent that is derived from somewhere?
Well, our accent is closer to 17th century British English, actually.
Huh. Also, I'm surprised that the R's didn't leave sooner. Like, I would feel like that would be like a Norman influence where the R's disappear.
Right.
The Normans being the French influence on the English language.
You mean Norman?
Yeah.
Sure, but
Norman.
like the fact that it happened later is really interesting.
Yeah, I think so too. Right. Norman invasion happened in 1066. All these people from this one particular section of France come over to England and they kill a lot of people, and then they also just marry in and they bring all of their they bring their families with them, and they settle in and they change the English language very, very dramatically. The written record of English kind of stops for about 300 years because French was the language that was used in all kinds of, like in anything related to laws or administration, to government, and certainly to court. That was very much the privileged language, and then about 300 years in, we start to see Middle English, which is the English that emerges having been heavily influenced by this Anglo-French, sort of the marrying of these two.
More colloquialisms that have to do with the Commonwealth. And even though we're celebrating 413, and I think it's not going to resonate in the same way, as you walked in the hallway of City Space to enter the Blue Room here, you walked by a fixture where if you push a button, it will hydrate you.
Or if you lean against the side button, there's a button on the side, and if you are leaning there,
it spouts out, and you can drink from it. You call this a? Do you really call it a bubbler, or does Boston call it a bubbler, and we call it a
water fountain?
Water fountain. How many say water fountain usually? And how many people always call it a bubbler? Wow. There's only like John Voci, late of NEPM.
Yeah.
And like one or two other people. That's great.
Yeah.
I have no idea if we can blame that on the British.
No, who do we
I don't
blame that
think
on?
we can.
No, I don't know. We also have Jimmy's Sprinkles.
Jimmy's.
Jimmy's.
That was one of the ones that I had heard was racist, but then looked it up, and it's not racist. So that's great. Not racism.
Always great
is
when it's not
excellent.
racist.
Also
Always,
was taught that
always
there's a
good.
differentiation between Sprinkles and Jimmy's, where Sprinkles are the colored ones and Jimmy's were the chocolate ones.
Well, no, Jimmy's are the chocolate ones, right? And Sprinkles are the
yeah,
other ones?
yes.
Yeah, that's
I
how it
happen to have been, at one point in my life, a professional Jimmy applier.
Uh-huh.
And I will tell you, it was at Brigham's in Quincy, Mass.
Oh, yeah,
Brigham's.
And they were all Jimmy's.
Brigham and Women's.
No, not that one.
Oh, that's different. They don't serve ice cream.
No.
They probably do serve
They
ice
serve
cream.
babies.
Yeah,
All right, one of my favorite linguistic features that was very new to me, and I, born in New York, but grew up in Pittsburgh, and then was in Boston for a little while, came out here, and people sometimes say, "So don't I?" Is anybody familiar with this? Or "So haven't I?" So what you say is, "Oh yeah, I've been to Cityscape before. Oh yeah, so haven't I." Do people know this? First time I heard it, I was like, what does that mean? Like, what can it possibly mean? But it means it's a way of confirming an affirmative. But at the same time, there's a little bit of a hint of a correction in it.
Yeah.
Right? It's saying, like, you think I haven't been there, but yes, I have. So haven't I?
So haven't I.
Right.
Yeah,
you,
I could
you heard
hear
of
it
this?
with an attitude, actually, now
Yeah.
that you say it.
Yeah.
So haven't I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my favorite linguistic feature of this region.
My favorite one is that I feel like if there's an accent, it's more connected to either like upstate New York or Canada. Because when I moved to Great Falls, Turners Falls, I would be going to Food City, the supermarket there on Avenue A, and people would say, "Oh, I need an extra $100 to get some scratch tickets, hey." And I was like, "Hey?" Like, "Oh yeah, I gotta go buy a bunch of kale over here, hey." And I'm like, "What?" And over again, they would end their sentences with "hey." So does anybody here experience that anywhere in Western Mass? Even my friends from Great Falls don't experience that yet? You hang out in the Polish clubs of Turners Falls. You're going to hear that.
Is this a
You're going to go to
dialect?
St. Stan's tonight, hey.
Is this
Yeah.
a dialect that's specific to the Polish clubs of Turner's
I
Falls?
believe it is really like a micro-focused on that part of Franklin County.
It might have been somebody targeting you when you went to Food City.
That's also true. They're just trolling me. Yeah.
And now you can too.
Before we let you go, any more do you want to add to our own dialects here, Emily Rooster?
No, I was trying to remember one, but I've lost it.
If you've got your own, email them to us, and we'll look
or
at
anybody
it later
have ones
for
that
sure.
they only hear in
Yeah.
Western Mass in the audience that they want to share? Potato? I can see that
Oh,
one. Potato.
potato.
That one, I bet, is
Potato.
more broadly, perhaps broadly used than just Western Mass.
I don't know.
Yeah, to me, that's like, again, though, leaning into the New York, kind of almost Chicago/Canada type thing, potato.
Well, the Western Massachusetts
Or Polish,
dialect,
I'm
there
hearing,
are
too.
features of it that really span from like York, Maine, down to New Haven.
Uh-huh.
It's actually a pretty broad region.
In another life, I'm a linguist who is studying the Boston accent and its nuances. And there's a different North Shore accent. There's a different
yeah.
Worcester accent. They're all very connected, but the more you dive into it, the more you can hear.
There's the Black
that
Boston
sort of-
accent,
there's the
which is
Black
different.
Boston accent. Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Who knows? I think Brittany Hathaway from our sponsor, PV Squared Solar, who's helped to make this event possible today, has something they want to say. Also, thank you to all of our other sponsors. Okay.
Oh.
Grinder and Tag Sale, which is like if you're looking to date but don't want to commit. Oh no, wait, that's a different Grinder. That's a different Grinder.
But,
Talk about the difference between Grinder and.
right.
Thanks
right.
for the booze.
I grew up with hoagies. Anybody know a
Yeah,
hoagie?
hoagies.
Right? Hoagies? Yeah. Grinders, New England.
Subs.
Subs.
We called
right.
them subs all the time. We never
Yeah.
called them Grinder or Hoagie.
Yeah. I don't actually know where the Grinder sub line is. New York?
We're here in New York.
New York
Yeah.
at sub? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
Worcester.
splits at Worcester.
And what was
Yeah.
the other one you were saying? Tag
sale.
Yard sale.
Right.
We always called it a yard sale, but we also
Yeah, that's another Worcester divide, where I
think
think
so, too.
west of Worcester you get tag sale, and east of Worcester you get garage or yard sale.
But we also, if I were to intentionally knock this table over as a pratfall, we would also call that a yard sale. Oh, he totally yard sailed over that table. Which I love, actually. And I
Wow.
don't know if it's only me and my friends that use
Yes.
that. And also, I'm going to knock this table over on the way out to yard sale.
We're so not.
The other big divide, I think, in Massachusetts, and we touched upon it, is Merry, as in Merry Passover, Mary, as in a person's name, and marry,
as
which
in
you could
weddings.
do with Mary and then feel
Mary.
Mary.
Right.
if there was
Yeah.
consent. Yeah.
Yeah. So my husband is from New York, and every Christmas day we spend at least like half an hour on these three words.
Mary,
Always.
Mary,
every
and
single
Mary.
Christmas. Yeah. Yeah. Mary, Mary, Mary. They're all Mary to me.
Mary,
With
Mary,
addendums-
and Mary.
Again,
Right, that's what
addendums
he
out
says
there
to me.
to our friends named Aaron and Aaron.
Yeah. Khalees
Oh,
and I
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
differentiate. Aaron is coming or Aaron is coming. Most people are like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Aaron
can
and
keep your
Aaron.
Marys. I've got my cot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't do that.
Well, the Word Nerd joins us every Wednesday and is very appreciative when you have linguistic questions
So
for
please
her.
do
Yeah.
send them
Do
to
send them
the
to us.
fabulous to
Yes.
thefab413@nepm.org. We love looking into the
Yeah,
answers
questions
to
are
them.
great.
Please give a round of applause to our regular Wednesday guests from Greenfield, Massachusetts, from our dictionary in Springfield, Emily Brewster, resident wordster from Merriam-Webster.
Thanks to everyone who came out live on April 13th, 413, for our 413-day celebrations at City Space.
10 minutes before the event ended, our people counter read that 413 people came out to celebrate with us.
Then 2 people came late and ruined it.
They don't count. On the next Fabulous 413, it's Earth Day,
Another completely made-up holiday of great import.
where Water Commissioner for Western Massachusetts, UMass Professor Christine Hatch will explain how our water is weathering the weather through our changes in climate.
And Kathleen Moriarty of Northampton City Lights, who are advocating for darker nights to control light pollution to benefit pollinators and birds and astronomers, regales us with the fun events they've planned for Northampton Night Fest 2025 tomorrow night.
I'm Khalees Smith.
I'm Monty Belmonte.
We'll see you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413.
I'm from Western Mass, Western Mass, Western Mass, Western Mass, Western Mass, Western Mass, Western Mass. A question is to the Inquisition, like a state fair is to the exposition. It's the biggest thing that you'll ever see. It's the biggity, 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 big E. Get a deep fried Twinkie and a hoopty ride. Take a burlap sack